Evening, Nana fans. We are here. The vibes are at an all-time high. It's electric today. 49ers, as you know, extended the superstar wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk to a 4-year extension. They gave him $120 million over 4 years with $76 million guaranteed. We all know the news. We're all hyped up. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. I was so excited and so surprised really when it happened. I just couldn't believe it, trying to process it all, and all the information's coming out now, all the news. I want to talk to you guys about that. We'll go over it. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk. I was live on Instagram. I've been live here. Everybody's excited. It's just a good time of finally over. Like, it just finally over. It's just so glad that this is done. And this was one of the craziest off seasons, ever. And the agent on Brandon Ayuk's agent, Ryan Williams, he in his Instagram story, he goes, "Man, there may never be another one quite like this." Like, you can tell, like, it just was a crazy, crazy saga. The 49ers, there was a back and forth. There's so many reports that came out. Deanna Rossini just had one, and we'll talk about that too. But it's over. And now we can focus on Trent Williams. And once Trent Williams domino falls, then we got everybody back. 49ers are paying a lot of players, man, and that's what they do every year. It's not easy. They got players that are going to have to be on the books next year. They got a lot of free agents. They like 36, 38 free agents next year. They're paying players a lot of money, right? You got Brandon Aiyuk under contract now, $30 million a year. Nick Bosa, $34 million a year. Debo, $23.85 million a year. Trent Williams is at $23 million a year. Javon Hargrave, 21. Fred Warner gets $19 million a year. Christian McCaffrey, $19 million a year. Kittle makes $15 million a year. Those are your star players. They're getting paid handsomely. The 49ers will pay their players. It takes a little time, but man, oh man, they played their players like crazy. And next year, Brock Purdy, Hufanga is going to be a free agent. Dre Greenlaw, and Diamond Lenore, Mooney Ward. It's just crazy. This team is stacked with talent. It's hard to make way to trade, to find a, a safe amount, a good amount of pay to give these guys. Like, because you can't predict the future. You don't know if they're going to get hurt. You don't know if they're going to continue to play high level. You want them to. You got these superstars. You got to reward them, but you got to even think about the future. You got to draft players. If they become good, you got to pay them. It's a tough balance for this front office, and it was a frustrating time. But man, oh man, he's getting it done. They got it done. The crazy thing is Brandon Aiyuk is going to get paid $47 million before April 1st in this contract. Like, the way his contract is loaded, it's front loaded. So they're giving him $47 million before April 1st of 2025. So a lot of this is front loaded, and that's $76 million guaranteed. His contract is insane, man. It's insane. Um, we got to make it to the Super Bowl. This team is so loaded. We have so much talent. How many more years are they all going to be together? This team, man, is such a good team. I got to make it to the Super Bowl. So let's take a look at some of the reports about what happened with this contract. Obviously, we saw the breaking news, 4-year extension, $120 million over 4 years. That's $30 million a year annually. He's the 5th highest paid receiver. He's getting $76 million in guarantees, as we noted. That's a lot of money. The other part of this contract was, in the end, Brandon Aiyuk accepted the same deal that was on the table since August 10th. So they had this deal presented to him, and then all the trade rumors were going around, and he didn't know if he wanted to take the move. He was trying to look out for his best interest, him and his agent. This is according to Adam Schefter. And again, they had this contract on the works. We don't know how long they took to rework it, because the old reports were saying that Brandon Aiyuk was only going to get paid, like 26, 28, but it looks like they upped their ante. They said, hey, we're going to pay you the $30 million. At that same time, Brandon Aiyuk, maybe he felt dejected, and they said, well, I want to get traded. All the trade partners, it fell through. No trade came through. If you remember what Brandon Aiyuk said, he did say he wanted to play for the 49ers. The 49ers did say they wanted to keep Brandon Aiyuk. So it was just like, I don't know. It was a weird situation, but it's over. And then according to Deanna Rossini, the 49ers were only willing to trade Brandon Aiyuk if they could get a top-flight receiver. We knew that. This was a report that was going on for a while, that if the 49ers get rid of Brandon Aiyuk, they need to get a wide receiver back in return. And that was the big consensus report. And Deanna Rossini, she reported that tonight, and saying that in order to trade Brandon Aiyuk, the 49ers needed a good receiver in return. We saw Amari Cooper was like the big trade, and Brandon Aiyuk nixed it. Said, I ain't going to Denver, or sorry, Cleveland. I want to go to Cleveland. And Amari Cooper would have probably been the best receiver the Niners could have got till we learned about this next trade offer, which we'll talk about, because the Steelers weren't going to give up a wide receiver, and the Niners were only going to get draft picks. The Patriots, they could have gave up Kendrick Bourne, but he's not as good as Brandon Aiyuk, and they would have got Matt Judon, which would have really helped your defensive line, but they really wanted a wide receiver. I don't think that was the first option the 49ers wanted. I think they wanted that Cleveland trade because you get Amari, you get draft picks, good receiver trade-off. And then what Deanna Rossini said is that the 49ers were going to offer a third-round pick to Denver. Okay, so Denver gets a third-round pick. The 49ers would get a second and a third-round pick from the Steelers. You take that third-round pick, shoot it to Denver. Denver gives Cortland Sutton to the 49ers, and the 49ers send Brandon Aiyuk to the Steelers. What a wild trade. What a wild trade. What a wild trade that would have been. 3-team trade in the NFL. What is this, the NBA? Cash considerations, draft pick. The Broncos, they said no. They declined the offer. The Broncos are smart to decline the offer because they would have got a third-round pick for Cortland Sutton. A third-round pick? You don't get a wide receiver. The 49ers are giving the wide receiver that they could have gave to you to the Steelers. Steelers give you draft picks, and you use that draft pick to go get Cortland Sutton. That's crazy work, ladies and gentlemen. And the 49ers were trying to bamboozle the Broncos, which I don't care if they get bamboozled. That's not my team. But the Broncos were like, ain't no way. So it's crazy how this whole situation worked out, and now he's back with the 49ers. Man, it's going to be tough next year. I don't know. Brock Purdy's going to get paid, what, $60 million? $60 million maybe? That's what the rumors are. I mean, he's got to play good this year. He's got to go crazy. He's got to have a, MVP-type season. Whew. Rager says, Raj, Sutton to the Niners would have been nice. Oh, don't get me wrong. Sutton to the Niners would have been nice. No doubt about it. Again, if the 49ers are getting rid of Aiyuk, you want a good receiver. But if you're the Broncos and you're getting nothing but a third-round pick and you're giving Brandon Aiyuk to the Steelers in this situation, that's a no-go. For me, I'd be like, ain't no way. Gold-blooded says, hey, Raj, do you think they would have signed BA before Trent Williams if they don't know he's going to resign or retire? Can't see them picking one. I think at this point they had, and I've been saying this for weeks, regardless of the Trent Williams situation, I think they know they got to get Trent Williams. But Brandon Aiyuk has been going through this contract situation since like February, March. I'm sure Trent Williams knew this is what he was going to do, but the Brandon Aiyuk situation was going on for months and months, and it was dragging, it was dramatic, and there was trades, and it was like this, and it was that, and it was this, and it was that. The market kept changing. Wide receivers got paid. Waddle, Tyreek Hill, everybody's getting paid. CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown. Everybody was getting paid. Amon-Ra. I think the Niners were like, we got to get this receiver situation done no matter what. Because if you would have paid Trent, which he did, and I'm not saying that Trent's not the higher priority. We all know Trent Williams is so important to this team. He's critical. We need him. He's important. If you don't have him, you ain't winning the Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that you pick Trent over Brandon Aiyuk or one or the other. That's not the case. You have to please Brandon Aiyuk because he's already pissed. He's already went through this situation where he's like not happy. You have to mend that situation. And I think they did the right decision in paying Brandon Aiyuk first and getting that situation. Now you can focus, and now you know how much money you have in the books to throw at Trent Williams and make him come back. So you had to make sure Brandon Aiyuk was paid first and foremost because of the way the situation has went and dragged on. It was a crazy, crazy situation, but you had to get it done. So Steelers journalist was wrong. Pretty Ricky deleted his Twitter account. All those people look silly. I saw Freezing Cold Takes posted the Pony Express. Man, you know what? Shout out to Freezing Cold Takes. Larry Krueger stiffed me one night. I love Larry, but he stiffed me one night to talk to Andrew Filippini, who was the Pittsburgh Steelers insider. Didn't know what was going on. These Steelers, reporters, insiders, they had no clue what was going on. And Steelers fans are punching the air. The Steelers fans were punching the air, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm sure they're upset, but hey, you gotta realize a lot of these reports out there, the people trying to generate clicks, and it's that's how it is. That's why you don't always post these things. A lot of these are rumors, and you got to tread lightly on these things. You know, these journalists, these people try to say they're the source. They know it all. They know it all before, people like Ian Rappaport and Schefter and Mike Garofalo and all those guys. Those guys get paid the big bucks because they have the inside source. So, Pretty Ricky, rest in peace. Andrew Filippini, rest in peace, man. It's all smoke, and that's what it is. It's smoke season. The off season is just always crazy, full with drama, full with BS, and it's sometimes it's hard to figure out what is true or not. Doing this, you kind of know what's right and what's wrong, but sometimes even the best people get tricked. You don't know because people are going to put reports out. They need views. They want to talk. They want to go on their YouTube and this and that. And there's always reports, and we're just sitting here talking about it. But it got to the point where it was just like, oh my god, my head hurts. But all those people, they look silly, especially Pretty Ricky. That boy deleted his account. Whew. Gold Blooded says BA is going to look back and say, I went the right route. He did. He chose the right decision. It was crazy how we ended up here, but he ended up going with the right decision, the right route. No pun intended, right? But it was wild how we got here, And again, it is what it is. And one thing I keep saying on all my live streams is, you got to remember Brandon Aiyuk, he's still young. He's in his 20s. This is his first contract extension in his whole career. Like the first time he's had to deal with a big extension, big money, big talks, big contract. It's a whole nother game. It's mentally draining. It's probably just emotionally draining. I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not saying what he did was wrong. I get it. It's a new era. People use social media to push them, push their leverage here and there. But you got to know, man, Brandon Aiyuk, this is the first time he's ever had to deal with it. He's probably got thousands of people in his ear, his agent, his friends, his wife, or his girlfriend, and this and that. It's tough, man. Players, people are counting on him, mom, dad, whatever. It's a tough situation for him to be in. But you know what? It all ended in the right way. And it was weird how we got here, but in the end, business is business. Now you can move on, and they got to mend this relationship. And I think John Lynch understands it. He's a smart guy. He knows that these players, they go through a lot. They pay a lot of players. Like I mentioned at the start, they pay their players very handsomely. He knows it's frustrating. It's a frustrating process, but they get it done, man. It just sucks how we get there because every year it's like, oh my God, it's so long and drawn out. There's smoke, it's drama, it's this, it's that. The Niners have a good track record of getting things done. So, what would a Trent Williams contract look like? I don't even know anymore. He wants to be paid as the highest paid offensive lineman. So maybe give him, I think he wants guaranteed money, maybe like 28.5 million a year, something close to that. So he's got to get paid close to 28. He'll probably make close to 30 million, maybe 28 and a half, up close towards the top of the lineman list. That's what he wants to be, is paid the highest lineman. So whatever the highest lineman contract, maybe like 0.5 more than them, 0.5 million. So he did it before when he beat Bakhtiari by like 0.1 million, so we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I think he wants close to 28, but it's a lot of money, man. They got to front load these contracts now. These players want their money. But in the end, I think it's good that the 49ers stood on business. You could tell yesterday John Lynch was so disappointed, so displeased, so irritated. And he says, at some point, you got to play ball. I think when they asked him, they said, what are you going to do to, Brandon Aiyuk? He goes, I'm not going to discuss that here. That's something we'll deal with internally. We will handle the repercussions if he misses practice. I honestly think that Brandon Aiyuk talked to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. They said, look, dude, we got to find you, man. We got to find you $45K a practice, $90K for 2 days. I think they said, listen, we got to start finding you, man. We're going to look stupid. We're going to look stupid. And I think when Brandon Aiyuk figured that out, these guys are really pissed at me. I think he said, all right, man, contract, let's sign it. Let's take it. There's no more games. I don't want to go to this team. I don't want to go to that team. You guys are giving me $30 million. What else can you do? I think at the end of the day, Brandon Aiyuk realized that John Lynch was not playing games. And I think he realized, I do want to play here. This is how much you're going to give me. Nobody's going to give me a better offer. And I think that there's no better team than the 49ers. I think he finally realized. I think he really realized when John Lynch sat there and he stood on business, and you could see his voice cracking, and he was just like stern, like a principal last night. He was just like, listen, man, at some point you got to play. And then you guys saw that charity video that Lombardi posted where he was like, we're going to ride with who's here. I don't care who's not here. And he pointed at Debo. He says, Debo is here. He works hard. These guys are working hard. We got a system. We got a team. And we're promising you a good year. I think when Brandon Aiyuk saw that kind of stuff, he's like, they don't care if I'm here or not. I honestly think he realized, like, look, man, John Lynch, he ain't playing any games, man. I think John Lynch was the closer. He was the Mariano Rivera. I think he threw the strike that got the deal done. I think it was John Lynch yesterday putting his foot down, being stern, and saying, listen, man, at some point you got to play ball. That's it. Bottom line. I think John Lynch said, listen, I got enough of your sucker shit. Let's figure it out, buddy. He didn't want to play for the Patriots and the Browns. I don't blame him. He didn't want to play for any team except the Steelers. I don't know why he wanted to play for the Steelers. Maybe because him and Mike Tomlin are, maybe they're close. Maybe him and Tomlin are cool, right? I mean, they look like twins, so maybe he wanted to play for his twin. I really don't know why he likes Pittsburgh, but that was the one team he wanted to go to. I honestly think it's because of Mike Tomlin. I think he respected Mike Tomlin as a coach because he is a great coach. I think that's what it was. Pittsburgh, or New England, they was in shambles. They're not good. They're in cold team. Cleveland, they're in colder. Who wants to live in Cleveland? Why do you want a family in Cleveland? You got John Watson. They're a good team, though. They're a good team. They have a good team, but I just don't think that's an appealing team for a team. They've been a bad team for many years. And then Denver, they're not. But so worked out, man. All the rumors, trades. It's just crazy how. But yeah, I think we can breathe now. Like California Man says, we can breathe now that Aiyuk signed his contract. The drama is over. It's not over yet, California Man. There's one more thing that needs to be done. That means Trent Williams needs to get paid. Trent Williams is still the important guy in the office. Give me a second. I'm going to pause this TV. It's a little loud. I was watching the Colorado game while I was streaming. I'm going to turn the volume. I'm going to pause for just a second. So, as we were saying, the 49ers paid a lot of players. They paid Brandon Aiyuk finally today. But one thing is for certain, they definitely pay their players when the time is to come. But what do you guys think? I want to know your guys' opinions. How would you grade it? I know we're happy that we're done with the contract drama. How would you grade this? Do you think that he deserved the money he got? They paid him 120 million over 4 years, and he's the fifth highest paid receiver in the NFL. Do you think that he was worth that much? Do you think Brandon Aiyuk is worth $30 million a year? Honestly, you guys answer the question. CeeDee Lamb is number 2. So let's go over the highest paid wide receivers in the NFL based on average annual value (AAV). Justin Jefferson is getting $35 million a year. CeeDee Lamb is getting 34. AJ Brown is getting 32. Amon-Ra gets 30, and Brandon Aiyuk right under him at 30 million. Tyreek Hill getting 30. Jalen Waddle 28.3. Devonta Adams 28 million. DJ Moore 27.5, and Cooper Kupp 26.7 million. Do you feel like Brandon Aiyuk is justified? Do you think is he getting paid right? Too much? Too little? What do you think? $30 million, is that too much for Brandon Aiyuk? And again, give me your honest trade or your grade on the deal. I think it was a solid B. I won't give it an A. I mean, I'm just happy it's done. It's a B because they loaded the hell out of this contract. He's getting so much money up front. But just crazy, man. $76 million guaranteed. So Aiyuk is the winner. He is the winner of this deal. Let's hope Trent signs a new contract extension before Monday night. Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Rager says he deserves the money. Let's see. He deserves the money, but knowing that this deal was on the table since August 10th, it's crazy. The hold-in didn't have to go. Yeah, I agree with that, Rager. Like, he just didn't have to go out for that long. We know that the deal was on the table since August 10th, man. Like, it didn't have to dry out. What are you trying to prove? What were you trying to prove, Brandon? Like, I don't know. I'm just happy it's done. The whole process is insane to me. It's insane to me. Flood says, I'm completely honest. kind of turned off by all the drama. I'm happy we can all move on and focus on the task at hand and go win the damn Super Bowl. John, my man, says D simply because you couldn't finish the deal earlier. I think that's the consensus by a lot of fans. Like everybody's just, we're relieved it's over, but why couldn't you do it earlier? What the heck was the deal? Like, did you really not want the money from the Niners? Were they lowballing you? Like, I know the details of everything will come out, but it should have been done a long time ago, man. It's too much. Susan makes a good point. It's too much if he doesn't continue to produce like he was. He has to produce. This is a lot of pressure on Brandon Aiyuk. At the end of the day, Brandon Aiyuk has to go out there and deliver. If he has a bad year, people are going to let him know, and that's unfortunate because he's a great player. But now you're making $30 million a year. Go prove that you're worth that much money. He's got a lot to prove, ladies and gentlemen. Shade says if the Niners signed him in April before the draft, they would have saved $4 million per year. Yeah, but the problem is that market kept changing, and I think Aiyuk held on so long to this whole situation because he knew the market was going to continue to climb and climb and climb. Honestly, I think that's what him and his agent said is, hey, look, receivers are going to get paid. And as the months went on, receiver after receiver after receiver after receiver got paid. And they know the Niners take their time. They sit on their hands. The Niners, they like to drag it out. I feel like part of this is the Niners love to drag stuff out. They do it every year. And I think Brandon Aiyuk and his agent say, hey, look, if we sit back and wait and we hold in the training camp, you won't get fined because you're going to hold in. You're showing up. You reported. Just don't practice so you don't get hurt. If we hold in, at some point, they're going to have to pay you at the top of the market, which is $30 million. And that's what he wanted. He wanted to get paid $30 million like Amon-Ra. That's what he was basically saying on the Pivot podcast, and it all came to fruition. So if you really think about it, Brandon Aiyuk's agent, it's a dog, man. He played it well. It's tough. Parag was probably pissed. He was probably frustrated because they wanted to get this done and give him a smaller deal a couple months ago, 26 most likely. And like you said, save $4 million. But I think at that point they were like, no, market's going up. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, we'll take 30. So maybe that's why he waited. Because again, the deal was on the table from August 10th, right? That's what the reports say. August 10th. What happened after August 10th? CeeDee Lamb got paid. CeeDee Lamb just got paid the other day. So I think Brandon Aiyuk said, hey, we can wait a little bit longer because there's two more receivers that didn't get paid. CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase. I think he was waiting on that. CeeDee got paid, and then he saw that Jamar Chase was basically doing the same thing as him, and I think Aiyuk said, you know what? I don't think Jamar Chase is going to get paid anytime soon. I got to take this because nothing's going to get higher than 30. And I think the Niners at this point were pissed when he saw John Lynch yesterday stand on business. So I think a couple things. The 49ers were saying, here, $30 million, take it or leave it. This is the value. He saw CeeDee Lamb get paid, so he said, all right, $30 million is my floor now. Can I get higher? He was probably waiting on Jamar Chase, and it didn't happen. And now he probably felt the pressure after Lynch said, look, boy, play some football. And he said, all right, fuck it, we'll sign it because Jamar Chase is going to look like the last silly receiver out there. So here we are. Jamar Chase still hasn't signed. Brandon Aiyuk signed. He got his market value. He's happy. 49ers are happy. The drama's finally over. I'm happy because I don't have to look for Brandon Aiyuk pictures anymore. I'm happy. So, whew. John says, I think Brandon and his agent were waiting on Jamar Chase. I think so. I think so. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I got to go make some dinner. I'm starving. You guys have a blessed rest of your night. I love you. Go Niners. We'll talk more later. Brandon Aiyuk, the Yak Brothers. But look at this. We got the Yak Bros shirt on. You guys didn't even notice. We got the Yak Bros. George Kittle. We got George Kittle over here. Debo. And Brandon Aiyuk. We got the Yak Brothers. They're back. The Yak Attack is back, baby. Officially. I'm hyped up. Let's go. Niners. Brandon Aiyuk. They did it. Next up, Trent Williams. Let's go. Make sure you like, subscribe. I love you. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Raj. RSF 49ers. All channels. Love you guys. Have a good night.